Morning Tucson starts right now.
Now on GMT, preparations continue this morning for the planned statewide teacher walkout this Thursday, which districts plan on closing. Plus, the options available for parents scrambling to find childcare options for students whose classes are canceled. And Amazon is rolling out a new way to get your deliveries, the service that doesn't require you to be home. Very interesting stuff there. Good morning to you, Tucson. Happy Tuesday to you. I'm Whitney Clark. Thank you so much for joining us. We are in for some more hot weather today. April, how's it going over there?
It's not bad right now. In fact, still pretty nice outside. If you want to enjoy that outdoor activity while it's still nice and cool, I would get out there within the next few hours because it is going to warm up nicely. In fact, even as the kids are heading to school in the next hour and a half to 2 hours, it'll already be warming to about 70. We're in the low 60s now, but partly cloudy, and 94 is what we will see for the high today. All right, Big Al, how's it looking out there?
Not bad, April. Minute after 6 o'clock. Let's jump down to west of downtown. This is on the area of Grande Avenue. Big road, but bigger north of the area of St. Mary's because of all those restaurants, Pat's Chili Dogs, all the great Mexican restaurants. This is south of there, so big delays you can easily avoid if you want by just not using it, using Silver Bell, and you can still have nice lunches just north of St. Mary's on Grande. It doesn't affect that. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Thank you so much, Big Al. Well, this morning, Southern Arizona school districts are preparing for the anticipated statewide teacher walkout on Thursday. We know that schools in Marana and Sal Rita plan on closing. Arizona educators voted last week to strike in protest for better classroom funding and pay. This comes after Governor Doug Ducey proposed a 20% pay raise. Now, leaders with the Tucson Unified School District are set to meet this morning to decide which schools will be closed and remain open starting Thursday and possibly into Friday. This is what Superintendent Dr. Gabriel Trujillo told us yesterday.
And we want to be able to give those parents 48 hours to be able to make alternative arrangements. We don't expect that every school will be in that situation, but we want to make sure that we identify all schools that will be.
Now again, Marana Unified has announced all 18 schools will be closed on Thursday, and it's unclear when they will reopen. Sal Rita Unified School District also decided to close Thursday and Friday and give parents an update on Saturday when classes will resume. Walk-ins are scheduled to continue today and tomorrow. Now, this statewide walkout has many parents scrambling to figure out childcare services while they have to go to work. Not on your side's Jennifer Martinez has more on options for parents if their kids' school closes. Good morning to you, Jennifer.
Good morning, Whitney. And that's leaving a lot of parents in limbo, and many facilities have stepped up. One of those facilities offering extended childcare, the YMCA. They say that various locations in southern Arizona will be extending and expanding their program to all-day programming. For non-members, it will cost you $20. If you're a non-member, it's $25 a day. Now, some locations will be providing food, but some of them, they won't be providing food for your kids, so you will have to pack a lunch for them.
It's important for us to step into the breach when we need to provide, again, that community service with that focus on youth development.
And among those schools, Marana Unified, as you mentioned, Whitney, it's the first district to shut down all 18 schools. In a statement, they said, based on information provided to them, the majority of educators and staff plan to participate in the statewide walkout. They say, in quote, while the last thing we want to do is close our schools, we cannot appropriately supervise students and ensure student safety. And that's really the sentiments of many districts here in southern Arizona. They are remaining open, especially TUSD. They will remain open on Thursday. Now, that can change depending on what happens on Thursday. But of course, you want to stay with KGUN 9 on air and online for those updates. Whitney, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. You can find all of our coverage on our website, kgun9.com. Well, it's special election day here in Arizona, and it's an important one for Republicans. The race is for the open house seat that Republican Trent Franks left open in December. He's resigned because of a sexual misconduct scandal. Republican Debbie Lesko is the favorite to win. Now, Republicans just Republicans just lost a House race in Pennsylvania and a Senate race in Alabama. The race is also gaining some national attention. National correspondent for CNN, Kristen Holmes, has more on why today's special election matters for the 2018 midterms.
It's special election day in Arizona, and today voters will determine who will represent the state's ruby red District 8, filling a hole left by Republican Congressman Trent Franks after his abrupt resignation. Now, this area is a Republican stronghold. President Trump won it by more than 20 points. And unlike that special election we saw in Pennsylvania, they aren't expecting an upset here. Now, of course, it's politics. Anything could happen, but the numbers seem to indicate that Republican Debbie Lesko will beat out over Democrat Hiral Tipper-Nenny. But this race has really garnered national attention. Why is that? Well, today, Democrats and Republicans from across the country will be looking at the results in these Phoenix suburbs, not looking at who won, but looking at how close those margins are to determine whether or not Democrats still have that momentum heading into November. Because keep this in mind, it's not just the House seats. There is a big U.S. Senate election in Arizona. Republican Jeff Flake retiring this year, and Democrats have long hoped to flip that seat. Now, depending on whether or not those margins are close or far, that could alter the strategy, could alter the amount of resources going into that state.
Now, Republicans who control the state Senate were prevented from ensuring that Senator John McCain's seat isn't on the ballot this fall if he leaves office. Democrats voted against the measure Monday. The emergency clause would have changed how members of Congress who die or resign are replaced. Senate vacancies are filled by someone appointed by the governor with the seat on the next ballot. Under current law, his seat would be on this year's ballot if he leaves office by May 30th. Congresswoman Martha McSally says she was abused by her high school track coach. The article was published yesterday in the Wall Street Journal. McSally alleged she was forced into a sexual relationship and manipulated to stay quiet. That coach, Jack Dwyer, denied the allegations. McSally said she told someone about the issue and the abuse, and the school fired him. She said she left Rhode Island and joined the Air Force Academy to stay away from him. Former President George H.W. Bush was admitted to the hospital yesterday. What doctors are saying about his levels of stress and his condition this morning. Plus, today is the official state dinner with the French president. A sneak peek at the menu and why holding the state dinner is so important. It's 6:07. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. Welcome back now at 6:09 this morning. We're waiting for updates on former President George H.W. Bush. He's in critical condition with an infection that spread to his blood. A lot of people are sending their thoughts and prayers to him this morning. Now, at the hospital Bush is being treated at, an emergency physician says the immune system is not only affected by our age, but from stress as well.
And it's also affected adversely by stress of any type. And loss of a spouse certainly qualifies as a tremendous stress on the system.
The former president's spokesperson says he's responding to treatment and seems to be getting better. He went into the hospital on Sunday, just one day after his wife Barbara's funeral. President Trump and First Lady Melania are throwing their first state dinner today, and it's all about wooing the French president and creating a strong bond. This is a live look at the president right now, just arriving and saying hello there this morning. This is in Washington, D.C. Well, apparently we have a little bit more information about the menu for tonight's state dinner. It includes some type of goat cheese dish and a rack of lamb. The spices all come from the White House garden. Now, dessert is a nectarine tart with White House honey and some ice cream. They'll also drink some Chardonnay from Oregon as the Washington National Opera performs, and we will bring you any updates from that live feed that we were just seeing a moment ago. Well, it was pure panic in one of the safest cities in North America. What we know so far about the deadly van attack in Toronto and why investigators aren't ruling out terrorism. Plus, the Waffle House shooter is now in custody, why the father is also under investigation this morning, the accused shooter, that is.
And heat isn't all we're dealing with. We now have an air quality alert. We'll go over the details coming up at 6:11. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
Checking in around the world now at 6:15. The man who police say used his gun to kill 10 people and hurt 15 others in Canada will be in court today. He was arrested he was arrested yesterday. People cycled through a memorial all night. Now, police say he drove a rented white van into a crowd in Toronto. Investigators are searching for clues about any alleged motive. Police say they think the suspect did it on purpose and say they're not ruling out terrorism.
He hit every single person on the sidewalk. Anybody in his way he would hit. The bus stop, everything got shattered. There's a lady in there that I saw. I just stopped and I looked and I went after it again. All I see is just crumbling up one by one, one by one. Holy God, I've never seen a scene like this in my life, I swear.
The suspect's former classmates say he was in a program for students with special needs. Well, the gunman accused of killing 4 people at a Tennessee Waffle House was arrested after a frantic manhunt, but there are still many unanswered questions, including why did the suspect's father give him back the guns that the FBI had seized from him? His guns were taken away from him twice. The first initiated by the father and the second by the FBI after he tried to scale a White House fence last summer. The FBI eventually handed the guns over to the father, who gave them back to the suspect. Loved ones.
We're going to weather.
Go ahead.
Now, K-Gun 9 on your side first warning weather with meteorologist April Madison.
6:16. Here is the view from Midtown, right around Broadway, Rosemont, looking north towards the Catalinas. Got a little bit of cloud cover out there, not packing a lot of moisture, but the clouds have moved in. It did keep temps just a little bit warmer overnight, but now that the sun is up and we've got some clearing, we could see that number go down. 62, though, is where we are right now here on the east side. Really not a whole lot to complain about. That's still relatively mild. There's that blanket of clouds as it exits from west to east. There are more, though, coming from, I would say, more the southwest that could blanket the skies throughout the day. Partly cloudy is what we will see off and on throughout the day, but we are a little bit cooler to the south and east. 44 in Wilcox right now. 50s, though, for Sierra Vista, Douglas, and Nogales, and we got 68 still in Ajo. Highs today, very similar to yesterday. We may see a little extra cloud cover and maybe even a degree or two of warming. Usually when you see extra clouds, you see maybe some cooler temps, but that's not going to happen. We're not going to see A, enough cloud cover to do that, and B, it's not packing enough moisture just yet. 88 in Douglas. So all these temps that you're seeing across southern Arizona, anywhere up to 10 degrees above their average. We should be seeing a lot more 70s and 80s, and rather we're seeing a lot of 80s, upper 80s, and even low to mid 90s, well above the average. 94 in Tucson. Our average is about 84 to 85, so we're definitely well above it, even in Tucson. Corona Day Tucson at 92 today. Yesterday, it was just this area right here that we were seeing the air quality alert around mostly the greater Phoenix area, and as you can see here, it has been extended to Pima County. You combine the very high heat that we're seeing, the weather forecasted that we're seeing, combined with the ozone elevations, and that concentrated ozone is the reason for the health risk, and it does include Tucson. So anybody with limited breathing issues, or I should say respiratory issues, and or children should limit their outdoor activity during this time. The good news is towards the end of the week, it's not a great chance, but it is there. We're at least seeing a 10% chance for that rain to now make it far enough west into Tucson Friday night into Saturday, but still expecting to stay warm. Even with a few degrees of cooling, we aren't going to get like some real rain cooled air or anything. It may take us down to the low 90s as we move into the weekend, and then possibly the upper 80s by Monday of next week. How are the roads looking, Big Al?
619 could be better, could be a lot worse, April. We do have one wreck over near I believe it's the Olive Garden over near the area of Irvington Road near Midvale Park. We're going to take a quick peek there. Not a big slowdown yet coming out of Midvale Park, but that's where that one wreck resides. It is a hit and run. No word on injuries. Look at the barely visible Picacho Peak. The visibility not great, but we've seen it a lot worse than that when we have lots of fires that are rolling in, but it's still a little hazy this morning. Air quality is not great. Country Club Road between Speedway all the way up to the Racket Club. Big work that started yesterday. You won't see a lot of the work because they're doing the prep right now, lowering the manholes, the water valve covers, getting ready to probably do the milling and paving first week of May. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Thank you, Big Al. Well, the accused gunman of killing 4 people at a Tennessee Waffle House was arrested after a frantic manhunt. But there are still some unanswered questions, including why did the suspect's father give him back the guns that the FBI had seized from him? His guns were taken away twice, investigators say, the first time initiated by his father and the second by the FBI after he reportedly tried to scale a White House fence last summer. The FBI eventually handed the guns over to the father, who they believe gave them back to the suspect. Loved ones and members of the community gathered last night to remember those killed and injured during that shooting at the Waffle House. The accused gunman opened fire in the restaurant before leading officers on that manhunt, which lasted 2 days. James Shaw Jr. was there with his daughter. It was the first time he saw her since wrestling the AR-15 out of the suspect's hands.
I actually tried to count the hairs on her eyelashes just because I was just like, I almost didn't see you anymore.
Well, just last September, a masked gunman opened fire on a church in the community, killing 1 person and injuring 8. A special team created after the most recent Florida school shooting meets for the first time this morning. The group is called the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Commission. The goal is to take a critical look at how the government responded to the shooting and other mass shootings in the state. That meeting starts at 8:30 this morning. The first line of business will be to go over the mission and how the investigation will happen. Its final report is due the first of the year. Today, protesters are expected to pack the Wells Fargo shareholders meeting. What happened last time they protested and what the group is rallying against. Plus, could Spotify be dabbling in something new? What the music streaming service's future looks like. It's 6:21. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. In your Consumer Watch this morning now at 6:24. Today, protesters are expected to invade Wells Fargo's shareholder meeting. They'll protest several abuses by the bank, like the fake account scandal. More recently, the bank was fined for charging home and auto loan customers unnecessary fees that pushed many into default. At last year's meeting, protesters forced leaders to stop the meeting for a little bit. Well, this morning, Google's profits are growing. Alphabet, Google's parent company, reported profits of nearly $9.5 billion in the first 3 months of this year. That's close to double the number for the last year. But on the other end of the profit meter is Sears, which has lost over $10 billion since 2010. Now, the CEO of the company, Eddie Lampert, is offering to buy things like the Kenmore brand and some or all of the real estate Sears is holding. The company has been trying to sell the assets for 2 years. Well, 3 weeks after going public, Spotify is ready to talk about the future. At an event today, the streaming music service is promising to talk about what's next for its mobile app, although rumors say it could also jump into the smart speaker business. Amazon is rolling out a new way to get your orders delivered to your parked car. It's free for Prime members with 2015 or newer Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, and Volvo or Cadillac vehicles. You download the Amazon Key link your car and start ordering. The app lets you track your deliveries and get real-time updates. When the delivery driver arrives, they request access to your car through an encrypted process, and Amazon checks that they are at the right car with the right package. For now, the service is only available in 37 cities, including in Phoenix. Well, some overnight protests disrupted traffic downtown in Tucson, the verdict that sparked the demonstrations, and what's next in the trial.
As educators prepare to walk out on Thursday, one facility is extending their programs for childcare. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
Good Morning Tucson starts right now.
Now on GMT, districts across the state are deciding on whether they'll close schools during the planned walkout this week, the childcare options that could be available if classes are canceled. Plus, the jury has announced its verdict on the Border Patrol agent accused in the cross-border slaying of a Mexican teen, reaction from the trial that lasted nearly a month. And it's the stench we've been waiting for. The latest on Rosie's bloom this morning at the Tucson Botanical Gardens, and when you can go check it out. Good morning to you, Tucson, and a happy Tuesday to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's head over to April with a look outside. Good morning, April.
Good morning to you. We are sitting in the low to mid 60s across the metro, and we're going to warm up quickly to right around 70 by 8 o'clock, topping out even with a little extra cloud cover today. We are still expected to be 94 degrees, a degree warmer than yesterday, and these 90s are sticking around. We'll talk about an air quality alert coming up. How's it looking, Big Al?
I'm going to show you right now the air quality that April's going to tell us about. Not the greatest. There is Picacho. You can barely make it out. That's about, what, 25 miles north of Tucson. You can see a little bit, but not much. Hit and run on Irvington, right a little west of Midvale Park. We did have some slowing, but it looks like it's kind of gone now, westbound coming from Mission over to I-19 with that wreck. So I'm thinking it's clearing. Also, Wilmot Road. I wouldn't use it if I couldn't use it. You can, but I don't think I would. I'd use Craycroft because of all the construction going on Wilmot. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Thank you, Big Al. Well, continuing coverage this morning as officials with Southern Arizona's largest school district say they are getting ready for Thursday's expected teacher walkout. TUSD leaders will meet today to talk about plans for this week. Superintendent Dr. Gabriel Trujillo came to KGUN 9 Studios yesterday. TUSD is using a parent survey to determine how they'll need to staff each school so parents have time to make arrangements.
The early trend right now is, for the most part, we're looking at anywhere between 30 to 40% attendance on Thursday.
Dr. Trujillo says they're working hard to make sure parents won't have to miss work and kids won't have to miss a hot meal during the work stoppage. He says TUSD schools won't have to make up any days if the strike lasts less than 3 days. If it extends into next week, some schools will have to readjust schedules and possibly extend their school years. Well, schools in Marana and Sahuarita do plan on closing as Arizona educators fight for more classroom funding. 9 on Your Side's Jennifer Martinez is live at Marana and Thornydale with more on the district's decision. Good morning to you, Jennifer.
Good morning, Whitney. Well, yeah, Marana is closing all of their 18 schools in the district, and this includes before and after school programs and, of course, those extracurricular activities as well that students do after school. The district says that it is aware that families rely on food services given at school, and that includes lunch and breakfast. So there will be various locations for families to bring their kids to eat. Those locations will be provided tomorrow. In a letter to parents, the district says, while the last thing we want to do is close our schools, we cannot appropriately supervise students and ensure student safety. Safety has been a big concern for many districts, especially TUSD and Sunnyside. While many remain open, they will close their doors if they don't have enough staff to keep your kids safe. Because many parents are in limbo as to whether or not their kids will be in school on Thursday or their school will be open, the YMCA will be offering extended services for childcare.
Well, we'll be expanding our programming, our child care programming, from just what would ordinarily be afternoon programming and evening programming to all-day programming.
Now, if you choose this route, the YMCA will cost for members $20, non-members $25. Some facilities will provide food, but others will not. So they say that make sure you call and check and have a lunch packed for your child. And they're saying that they don't know how many kids will go to the YMCA. You don't have to, you can just walk in, but they're saying just call just to sign your kid up just in case. And of course, this is still developing as schools, they're calling and they're saying that they're going to be closing. So make sure you stay with KGUN 9 on air and online for those closures. Back to you, Whitney.
There were protests and closures overnight in downtown Tucson. This is on Congress and I-10. This comes after the jury's verdict in the trial of a Border Patrol agent accused of murder. Now, a jury found Border Patrol agent Lonnie Swartz not guilty on the second-degree murder charge of shooting through the border fence and killing 16-year-old Jose Antonio Elena Rodriguez. The jury decision means Swartz cannot be tried on the second-degree charges, but he could face a new trial on the manslaughter charges. Lonnie Swartz said shooting across the border and killing the teen was self-defense because people on the Mexican side, possibly including the teenager, were throwing rocks as agents tried to stop smugglers from climbing back over the fence. Swartz is vulnerable to retrial on those less severe manslaughter counts, as I just mentioned. We may learn what prosecutors will do in a status conference on May 10th. A lawsuit involving a monkey selfie. Remember this? The oral arguments over this now famous selfie. Plus, birdies on the golf course are usually a good thing, but not when that bird is a very angry mother goose. It's 6:35. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. Welcome back now at 6:38. Federal court has ruled that animals cannot sue for copyright protection, but lawyers fighting for them were able to drag things out in court long enough to get a settlement. Now, the monkey, Naruto, this monkey you see here, who took famous selfies with wildlife photographer David Slater's camera. Well, the photo has since been made into a book.
Monkey does not have standing to go into federal court to sue for copyright infringement. There's complicated questions about how to protect those animals in federal court.
Well, the animal rights group PETA says Naruto knew exactly what he was doing, making him the author entitled to profits from Slater's book. Now, under the settlement, the photographer will pay a quarter of the royalties from this book to charities that help this specific monkey. Well, take a look at this. At a high school golf tournament in Michigan, a high school team had teed off near a goose sitting on an egg in a nest, and it was not happy. They were all attacked, but the boy in the purple pullover got it real bad. Oh my gosh, someone ended up driving a golf cart in between the boy. Oh my gosh, and the goose, to break it up, neither man nor the goose was actually really injured in the scuffle, despite some of those photos, which looked pretty bad there. Well, today there will be ringing of the royal bells and a gun salute. The celebration for the new royal baby continues, but it was another child that stole the show yesterday, and she is just beyond adorable, April.
And if you've got a heated pool, this might be the week for you. We're going to take a look at that backyard forecast coming up. Whitney.
Thanks, April. But first, new details this morning on an actress charged with sex trafficking for her alleged role in that self-help group. ABC's Candace Gibson has the details in today's GMA First Look. Checking in around the world this morning now at 6:45. A two-day meeting on Syria starts today, and it could be a turning point in the fight to stop the brutal civil war there. That alleged gas attack by the Syrian government is just the latest thing inspiring action, but Russia keeps vetoing any action. Today's EU and UN joint meeting could change that. They want to use an uncommon rule to send the issue to the full UN General Assembly. There, the Russian veto wouldn't mean anything. Closing arguments are today in the Cosby retrial, and the jury could have the case by dinner time. Bill Cosby's defense team rested its case yesterday after Cosby himself revealed he wouldn't testify. The judge told the jurors to rest up. The big difference during this retrial is that one extra accuser testified against Cosby. Cosby also has a brand new defense team who focused on painting the main accuser as money hungry. President Trump's nominee for Secretary of State is on track for confirmation. Mike Pompeo survived a close vote on Capitol Hill. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee narrowly approved his nomination after Kentucky Senator Rand Paul had a change of heart and decided to vote in favor of the nominee. Pompeo, who is currently the CIA director, still needs to be confirmed by the full Senate. That process could be over before the end of the week. United Airlines CEO Oscar Munoz is giving up his annual bonus in the wake of a rocky year. According to a corporate filing, he made $9.6 million in 2017 and told employees in a letter he chose not to accept the bonus to, quote, send a message about the culture of accountability and integrity. He said the company had some incredible successes, but also some setbacks in 2017. The carrier came under fire in April 2017 when a passenger was violently dragged off the plane to make space for commuting crew members. Another reason to get the kids outside today. New guidelines released by the American Academy of Pediatrics will tighten how doctors measure high blood pressure in kids and teens. The study calls for pediatricians to do routine blood pressure checks at annual visits, and again says lifestyle changes, including healthy eating and getting more exercise, are the best defense against obesity and high blood pressure. Well, the British are celebrating the birth of a new royal. The new family of 5 left the hospital just hours after the birth of their 8-pound, 7-ounce bundle of joy to return to their home in Kensington Palace. There they are right there. But it was perhaps little sister Charlotte who stole the show as she waved at cameras while holding her beaming father's hand. Celebrations will continue in London with the ringing of the bells at Westminster Abbey and a gun salute in Hyde Park. No word yet on a name, but odds favor Arthur, the name of Queen Elizabeth's late father. April, Charlotte, she's got that wave down. She was just working it yesterday.
She's like, let me show you. Let me show you this. I've got it down. I can do it. And how does mom, 7 hours after giving birth, I looked like death. I wouldn't even let anybody in my room. Here we are looking outside. Little bit of cloud cover out there. Kept temps just slightly warmer this morning into the 60s versus the upper 50s. It is going to warm up, though. A lot of that is haze as well. We've got an air quality alert to discuss, and we will go over that. There it is. Sun is up. This is Midtown looking east towards the Rincons. We're at 62, winds out of the southeast at about 11 miles per hour. This would be a really good week if you have a heated pool to be hanging outside as long as you have either shade and or that pool, because otherwise you're going to want to limit your outdoor activities based on not only the heat, but the ozone, elevated concentrated ozone that we're seeing. Lots of water and sunscreen as well if you are going to be hanging by the pool, because it is going to be very hot. There it is, a little bit of cloud cover that was swinging through, but mostly moving up and over our ridge of high pressure. And it's that ridge that's really brought on the unseasonably warm temps that you're seeing kind of right there. That's the big weather story for us. There's a couple of systems, this one just off the coast of the Baja and another one brewing off the Northwest Pacific, which will eventually bring us a little bit of a rain chance, but that's where the clouds are coming from right now. Not packing a lot of moisture, certainly not enough to bring this down. We have a concentrated ozone levels. You combine that with the forecasted weather conditions, and that is the reason now for the extended air quality alert. We typically see that a lot in the Phoenix area, in Maricopa County, but it now has been extended for Pima County, and Tucson is included. So anybody, children or with breathing issues, should really limit their outdoor activity today and possibly even again for several days. We'll see if it gets extended into the rest of the week. But with these highs, again, for now, expected to stay in the mid-90s at least through Thursday, possibly only getting a few degrees of cooling as we see that very slight rain chance Friday night into Saturday. Could be next week before we see those 80s return. How are the roads, Big Al?
10 till 7 April, not bad. One wreck earlier this morning, on Irvington Road, just east of Mission Road. We'll show you that right now. There was some eastbound slowing. It went away. Now it's back again. Irvington Road from right around Mission over to I-19. Part of that is going to just be the Midvale Park exodus in the morning. Golf links to Pima on Wilmot. The right and center lanes, lots of work going on. We mentioned yesterday and today that it's going to be quite restrictive all the way up to Pima Street. Another several days of work. Here's what we saw yesterday. Outside lanes, the center lanes, and then ultimately the inside lanes will be milled and paved. They always work from outside to in with very few exceptions unless there's some other extraordinary event that's going on there. So again, staying left moves you through there all the way past Speedway to the elbow bend on Wilmot, where it changes names and becomes Tanque Verde. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Thank you, Big Al. Well, today is a great day to stop and smell the flowers. You might not like it.
Oh, it smells great.
We will tell you more about Rosie, our corpse plant, coming up. It's 6:51. You're watching Big on 9 on your side. Well, this morning, educators across the state are gearing up for a planned walkout Thursday. Marana Unified confirmed that they will be closing all 18 schools. Sal Rita is also shutting its doors on Thursday and Friday. TUSD is meeting today to decide which schools will be in session. We'll keep you updated on what we hear this morning. Now, meanwhile, the statewide walkout has many parents scrambling to figure out childcare services while they head to work. 9 on your side's Jennifer Martinez has more on options for parents if their child's school closes. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Whitney. Yeah, that walkout, it's leaving parents in limbo. They're not sure what to do with their kids, but many facilities, they've stepped up and they're offering extended childcare. One of those facilities, the YMCA, now various locations here in southern Arizona will be expanding their program to all-day programming. For members, it'll cost $20. For non-members, $25. Now, some places and some locations will be providing food, others won't, so make sure that you pack a lunch for your little one. You don't have to call ahead of time, but if you are going to go, they don't know how many kids will be showing up. Just make sure that there is room. Whitney, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. April, going to be another hot one.
Hot, and it's going to be a little bit hard to breathe for some with that air quality alert in effect now for all of Pima County. We can see a little bit of that haze right there. We had a little bit of cloud cover this morning, which kept temps a little bit warmer. We went down to about 62. Now we're back up to 63 at the airport, likely going to continue to climb well into those mid-90s. Yesterday we hit 93. We're looking to just continue to gain heat at least through Thursday. We now have a very slight chance for rain that could cool us down at least a few degrees into the weekend. Big Al?
April, it is 4 minutes till 7 o'clock. Lots of things going on. One wreck that's of note, and this was right near Midvale Park for our viewers in Midvale. It's already hard enough to get out of there and get to I-19, but now just right near the Olive Garden, you see the eastbound slowing from Mission all the way over to I-19 along Irvington Road. Out west, viewer Bob Pillsbury, one of our great Tucson Estates viewers, says he's seeing signs that says, get ready for paving on Ajo starting tomorrow until May 2nd. Also, Drexel remains closed because of a new warehouse going in. The city says all that sheet flooding across Drexel has to be brought underneath the road. And so, as a condition of getting this warehouse permit approved, the contractor is putting in a new storm drain system, and that's why Drexel's closed between Tucson Boulevard and Country Club until early May. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Well, guys, after much anticipation, our flower Rosie has bloomed. This is a live look at the Tucson Botanical Gardens. You can see people kind of moving around. Well, for the next 24 hours or so, they are expecting really thousands of visitors. I heard yesterday afternoon there were more than 100 people in line.
Even the butterflies won't light on.
I know.
Do butterflies smell? Do you know?
I don't know.
I'm asking.
That's a good
I have no idea.
They're staying away. They want to light on it, but they don't. Then they smell it. They say, "Oh, I don't like that."
Well, they're expecting so many people that actually the Botanical Gardens is opening up at 7 for members this morning to come check it out, and then they're going to be open till 10 p.m. tonight.
Okay.
To go check it out.
Because you only have limited hours before this
smell
thing
it.
pulls up and goes away.
Yes. Says goodbye. Goodbye from us for now.
Bye.